Hello everyone and welcome to Thursday. We're just finishing up at the cardiologist again. Got echo results. Also had an EKG because I was experiencing pain while I was here, so that was useful to get an EKG, although it didn't show anything. Got some good information, I think. I'll talk about it when it's not cold and windy. That's better. Okay, so now that I'm in a warm place where I can take off my jacket and talk, I will talk a little bit about what I've experienced. So I had a follow-up today. Yesterday I had the echocardiogram, and I got to talk about some of my stress-related stuff. I'm going to try and remember to do that at the end because I don't know, it's important that I talk a little bit about it, but I'll talk about it at the end. So the echo came back pretty good. I mean, there was no real issues. I have known from past echoes that I had a leak in one of the valves of my heart, and the cardiologist, the doctor, did see that, but they also saw a different leak, and I'm going to try and remember to how he said it. There was a technical term, but I'm not going to remember, but you have your two main portions of the heart, and the secondary portion, the ventricles, there was, you really want to be the center of attention, don't you? There was a leak between the left and right sides of the ventricles, which is unusual, but it was also super incredibly small that it didn't seem like an issue. So even though they discovered something new, not an issue. You know, everything is basically a non-issue, and the more important thing is that none of the things that are happening right now can cause pain, which is the issue, you know. And he said there was even a test to make sure that that is there between the ventricles, that leak or whatever. But he said even if you did that, it wouldn't do anything for you. It would just confirm that for sure. But from the echo, it looks like that. So I said, well, I am having these pains, and in fact I had the pains when I was in the office, so I had an EKG while I was in the office, but that also came back normal, and I said, you know, what do I do from here, you know? And I want to preface this by saying that I really like this doctor, and I don't always like doctors. I don't always like people, to be fair, and I really like this doctor. There's some people you can just tell they actually care. You're not just a paycheck or a number. Like, they actually give a crap about you, and like this guy really does. Like, he's a legit nice guy, and I want to say that going into anything else, just for the fact that I know from experience, and also lots of you, based on your comments, a lot of people don't trust doctors, and I understand that, but this is a nice guy. You know, I asked him, where do I go from here? You know, it feels so much like it's a chest pain, like in my heart. And that's been the worry, but he says that, you know, they've done these tests, and it's very conclusive. And he told me something. I mean, he had alluded to it yesterday, but he just kind of straight up told me today, because we asked him. I said, "Do you feel that I have Marfan's?" He says, "No, not at all." So I don't have Marfan's. And I talked about this yesterday, so I won't go into it today, but I don't have it. Everything that he was bringing up, I mean, it just didn't match up. There's one other thing I can check that I'm going to have to check next time I go to the optometrist for a lens displacement, but I don't think I have that. Pretty sure an optometrist would have mentioned that to me in the past, so I think I'm good there. So it's safe to say now I probably don't have Marfan's. Or I'll just go and say I don't have Marfan's, but I do have some other issue. Now yesterday, and this is what I was talking about with the stress thing. Yesterday I was talking a little bit about how, you know, this could be 100% stress, and I've really waffled back and forth between that, and it's hard to make that judgment call. And I talked to the doctor about that today, and he didn't quite see that as a possibility. I mean, for this to be 100% brought on by stress doesn't make any sense. It seems far more likely that there is something legitimately wrong. And another thing is, even though I am under a lot of stress, and I do a lot of work, and I work hard, and I work long hours, and, you know, I work too much, I'm a fairly laid-back guy. I really am. And I understand that stress isn't something like you think about. Like, it's not like, oh, I am currently experiencing stress. It's a very, subliminal, subconscious thing. I am a pretty laid back guy, and I just don't feel like it would, even though it would exacerbate the problem, I really don't feel like that stress is the root of the problem here. Despite whatever I may have said yesterday. Like I said, I've been waffling back and forth on this really badly. But I think the reason I waffle is that I don't want to sit back and say, yep, it's definitely stress, and not proceed with trying to find out what's wrong. Because if there is something wrong, and I don't push forward to try and figure out what it is, then I don't know what could happen in the future. This may not be something with my cardiovascular system, but there could be something else wrong, and I don't want anything to potentially harm me in my future by sitting back and saying it's probably definitely stress. And I'm sure stress has not helped, but if there's any way for me to push forward and try to get some more solid answers, I'm definitely going to do that. So the question is, what's next, right? I did, when I was talking to the doctor, he said one of the things that we might want to think about is doing a stress test. So we scheduled that for next Tuesday. And all they're going to do is they're going to hook me up to an EKG again, and this time I'm going to be on a treadmill. It's kind of fun. I've actually never been on a treadmill in my life. And then I'm going to go for, I don't know, like 10, 12 minutes, and they're going to use that to track to see how that is affecting my body, how my body is dealing with that, how my heart is dealing with that. And it should be helpful. It should at least give a little more insight into maybe the root of the problem. So that happens Tuesday. And it's such a weird thing for me to be going through all of this now because, I've mentioned it on the vlog before, but I don't like to talk about my health issues. And I really like to keep it private. Even, when we went to the ER, I never tweeted it or said anything about it. And I just waited until the vlog came out. And it's something I more or less kind of want to blow over. And it's an issue now where, I can't. The vlog is my life, and I don't want to, talk about my health stuff, but I kind of have to a degree because this is all, what I'm going through. In a day, you talk about what your day was about, and whenever you go and you have, an echocardiogram, that's kind of what your day was about. So we're going to have the stress test on Tuesday, and, between now and then, I probably won't talk about health stuff. Just assume that I'm fine. I may be experiencing pain, but from what I've learned, it's not going to kill me. And that's what it comes down to. Hopefully we can learn more, and I can possibly find out what is the cause of this. But for right now, I should be fine. I may be in some discomfort, but, like I said, it's not going to kill me. Once Tuesday comes, I'll give you guys the results of whatever I find out, and we'll go from there. One of the things the cardiologist mentioned is that it could be maybe even like a pinched nerve in my chest, or maybe even some sort of neurological issue, which, once again, don't want to talk too much about health, but there were 3 things that I needed to check out when I went to the doctor. I needed to look into my heart because I was having these chest pains. I needed to get my gastrointestinal stuff looked at because I poop in pairs. So there's a third thing. The third thing was my brain or my neurological system because I've had some issues with that. Once again, I don't really want to go into that. I would rather wait until it's time to proceed with that stuff. It's probably going to happen next year. Then I'll talk a little bit about it. But I just don't want anyone freaked out or anything like that. I feel certain that I will be fine. Last week at the ER, I watched that vlog where, you could hear it in my voice. It sounds like I'm going to cry, but I was scared. I was legitimately scared. And now, from having all these tests and, going to the doctor and doing all this stuff, I'm not. And I'm just really glad that I decided to push through with this now instead of waiting until next year. So I hope that answers a lot of questions. That's kind of what my day has been. That's what today's been all about. And we'll know more Tuesday. Like I said, between now and then, probably won't talk about health stuff unless something drastic changes. But I'm hopeful for the future. And don't forget that we're going to Wisconsin in 10 days. Not this coming Monday, but next Monday. Or maybe it's Sunday. I don't even know. So I'm glad that I took care of this now, because I would have hated to have been in Wisconsin and been freaking out. As one final note before I end today, I know yesterday I thanked you guys for all the support, but I wanted to thank you for something different, and that was the massive amounts of not only comments and messages, whether on YouTube or Facebook, and email, but specifically about your own stories related to your medical issues. There were a lot of people that, kind of an obscene amount of people, that all came out of the woodworks talking about problems that their family has had. You know, their mom, their dad, themselves, another family member who had chest pains. And then they would have a CAT scan and an echo, and neither of those caught it, but then they had this other issue, and they would, search into it, and they discovered something. So they gave us ideas, things to talk about. But I got a lot of these messages talking about your own personal stories, and I wanted to say thank you for sending those. Not only are they things that, are a little reassuring, but also they did give us questions and stuff to ask the doctor today, which was really helpful. And I'm not real good about responding to every single person, so I'm kind of issuing a blanket statement that if you did send a message or an email or a Facebook message or a tweet or whatever, and I didn't respond to it, I probably did read it. If it's a message, I did read it, because I can't not read it. Like, I have to go through all that stuff. So if you send an email or something in the past day or so with an interesting story, I may not respond to you, but I did read it, and I do appreciate that. Anyway, I don't want to feel like I'm rambling. A lot going on. Terrible time to be dealing with all of this health issues, and especially if stress is not helping when we're moving into these new network changes and content ID changes that are going to affect everything so drastically. But keeping my head up high, trying to feel good about everything, and knowing that I am doing everything within my power to find out answers. Okay, long vlog. Again, so many long vlogs, which sucks, because when I'm recording, I'm like, oh god, I have to edit this, and it's going to take forever. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we? I am very excited to go to the cardiologist in just about an hour or so, but before I do, I wanted to talk briefly about... Holy crap. It's a good idea. If I bend its will, it might fight for me as I fight this dragon priest. That's why we're here, by the way. We're not there for the dragon. Here for a dragon priest.